Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe here with me, my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And today we're going to be reacting to and kind of judging this death battle. Now, I don't like this channel. They seem typically fairly obtuse, in my opinion. Usually there's a slant and they then interpret data in that direction. I've noticed this habit of theirs to happen all the time. Mostly in regards to anime versus Western media, with Western media always winning, or at least that used to be the case at one point, and it really kind of annoyed me. But here, I got curious because Sauron versus Lich King. I actually like Warcraft 3. I also like The Lord of the Rings, hence this channel. So I figured this might be something fun, and Dan was very keen to watch this video, so we're gonna go over this. And we're mostly gonna analyze their stuff on the two characters, and then we're gonna analyze and show their little death battle. So this is gonna be a bit of a different kind of video for us. All right, so AKA the Ring of Power, Isildur's Bane. They got two of the names, right? So whatever, yeah, the One Ring. For Sauron, contains part of Sauron's essence. Powers granted. Dominion over other rings of power. Yeah. Enhanced natural traits. Okay, what do they mean by that?
Maybe I'm thinking, for example, Captain America.
But here's the thing, enhanced percent, okay, I'm not sure what they mean by enhanced traits, and I don't care to listen to them. A lot of what they say is just nonsense and repeating themselves, dodging around the actual subject without,
maybe
they say a lot without saying anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe a little stronger, faster.
But that's not really stated that it's never stated that that's what the ring does. It's just, now Sauron did pour his power, his Maiar abilities into it, but what those abilities are is a little more elusive. It's basically mythology. It's hard to figure out exactly what it is. Enhanced perception. Okay, what in the what now?
What kind of perception? Are they talking about visual?
Well, Sauron and his Nazgul can kind of sense when someone dons the ring, so is that what they mean? There's increased longevity? Yeah, actually, yeah. Invisibility? No. Actually, no. This is where they got something wrong. The invisibility is only because of hobbits, because the ring actually increases the natural, okay, I'm going to say traits of the given race. So, okay, for example, Numenorians might get, physically fitter, for example. I'm not saying that's definitive. That's a theoretical there. Galadriel would have been even more charming, charismatic, and people would have wanted to believe in her and follow her a lot more and be more entranced by her beauty. And she'd have more of her, what we call magic, but what the elves called something else. You have hobbits who can turn invisible because hobbits wish to be invisible to the outside world. It enhances what they already kind of have. So in the case of hobbits, it's invisibility. So saying it's automatically one of the powers that the ring grants, not entirely. Although it does allow you to perceive the spiritual realm rather than the physical realm as well. So here, it's not exactly invisibility. Mental domination. Well, it's more like influence over others. But yeah, I guess dominations. But prophecy. What? When is it? Okay, I'm trying to figure out when it's granted prophecy. Now, the Numenorians have a touch of prophetic. They've got a touch of the divine in them. Frodo curses Golem at one point, but that's more in regards to a curse. And then the curse, because it has powers, oaths and curses have a lot of influence over the music of the Ainur. That is to say, the ebb and flow of the world in Tolkien's Middle-earth universe. So here, I don't know where they're getting prophecy from. This is the sort of thing that occasionally they pull out of nowhere, and I go,
And
what are you doing?
and I suppose that does Sauron have access to all of the abilities that other races would get? Or
Well, he would. You've not read The Lord of the Rings or that far into the Silmarillion, but he has access to everything other races generally have, except he has. Basically, he'd be like a normal elf or something, except enhanced with all the Mire. Think Gandalf, except on steroids.
all right.
Or think Melian. That's a better comparison, because you've read at least a little bit with Melian. Although Melian might be a bit more powerful, because bear in mind she holds off Morgoth at one point. So, overall, there's a lot wrong here, and they're... Let's...
Kings of horses.
Here. Now, alright, we probably should have started here. Myron, Anatar, Gorthor, Ziggur, yeah, Lord of the Rings, Dark Lord of Mordor, Necromancer, Lord of Gifts, the All-Seeing Eye, the Enemy, yeah. At least 54,000 years old. Alright, sure. They probably got that right. I'm not sure about his exact age, but I'm just going to say maybe. It sounds legit. Maya of Morgoth. Okay, that makes it sound like Morgoth created him. It should... No, this here, linguistics matter. It should be Maya sworn to Morgoth. And before you say, well, you're harping a little anal retentively there, no, you got to bear in mind, this is Tolkien's universe. Show a little respect for linguistics. Linguistics do matter, especially with Lord of the Rings. Formerly sworn to Aule, creator and first bearer of the One Ring. Yeah? Second command to Morgoth's armies. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Alright. So, then we get, I believe, okay, who is this?
It's
Okay, let me just check. Oh, yeah, it's still Sauron. Powers. Flight or levitation? Levitation. Maybe when he doesn't have his body, but he's bound by gravity when he does have his body, so... Unless he dons something like a eagle cloak or something, I think. Well, he has transformed into bat, so in that regard, he can fly in bat form. So immortality. Yeah. Body regeneration. Yeah, but he's... This is actually something that's tricky for him. Because if he loses the One Ring, he can't just do it like that. No. He has to have the ring, because that's where all of his Mire abilities are centered. He poured all of his abilities into that One Ring because he was losing all of his abilities. So he needed that One Ring. Now, he lost his body in the fall of Numenor, when he got that island to commit suicide by trying to attack the Valar, and Eru-Ilúvatar sunk it. And his original body with it. Now, his original body he had since the First Age of Middle-earth. So here, body regeneration, he does after that, but then he does regenerate a body after he loses the One Ring, but it takes him thousands of years to do. It's not something he can do in just a day. Like, you know, we say body regeneration, but like it takes a while. Longevity, oh yeah. Spirit form, yeah, I guess, yeah. Psychic and illusory magic. Well, yeah, that sounds about right. Shadow and flame magic. Okay, where are they getting the flame magic? Like, are they relying on, like, Mount Doom or something? Like, is that what they're thinking? Orodrin? Like, I'm just...
maybe it's something from the movies. I don't know.
I don't think he summons fire or something. I know he does have weather manipulation, like he causes a blizzard. Well, it's hinted. It's not stated. You could read it that he doesn't, so that's fairly open in the text. Shadow. Well, he has his 9 ring wraiths. Is that what they're thinking? Like, I'm not sure if he has ended up using shadow magic. What do they mean by shadow magic?
Manipulations of shadows?
Like, is that a D&D term? Probably, but I'm not familiar with it. Shape-shifting? Yeah.
You discussed that just now?
Soul manipulation? Sort of? It's complicated and convoluted. Teleportation? He teleports? I've never... Like, when has he teleported? Oh, well, he transported himself. Oh, he regenerated over in Mordor. I think that's what they're referring to, but that he doesn't exactly do teleportation. It's not teleportation like bibbidi bobbidi boo and he appears somewhere else. It's like the way Tolkien describes it, Tolkien's not even sure how he got from the sunken ruins of Numenor to Mordor to an extent. He just says he transported himself. Now, one version says he had the One Ring and he transported the One Ring through the air, levitating it almost to Mordor. That version sounds weird, but Josh, the Tolkien lore geek, makes a good argument for, on his channel, for how the ring was left in Mordor eventually, like Sauron did have it sent away, and he regenerated where the ring was. So his spirit moved over there. But it was not something, no matter which version you go with, it's not something that happened in one day. It's something that, like, his spirit moved along. So that's where that falls more into, where is it? Spirit form. Teleportation itself, I can't think of any time when a single character, well, okay.
We know Gandalf teleported.
No, he didn't. Gandalf's never teleported.
Okay.
Gandalf never teleports. Gandalf never teleports. Saruman never teleports. Teleportation is not a thing in Tolkien's Legendarium.
Okay.
Like, it's not a thing. And I don't know where they're getting it. Like, feats. Conjured a storm from Mordor to Minas Tirith. No, okay. Directed much of Morgoth's war. About half. Well, I wouldn't say directed much. That makes it sound like he did most of the work. I'd say almost half, maybe a good third. Fled from Dol Guldur at hypersonic speed. Okay. I'm not sure here. Matched Celebrimbor's mind and soul powers. Okay. Successfully subjugated most of Numenor. Yeah, through sheer willpower. Yeah. And we've got survived divine intervention from Avatar. Yeah. Defeated Gandalf. What? Him and Gandalf have never really met in battle. They've never actually met in battle. When did he defeat Gandalf? Okay, Jet, that's enough. Okay, our puppy is a little overactive. Gandalf and Sauron never... Oh, right, the necromancer thing with Gandalf. Yeah, actually, we don't know that there was an actual battle per se. Gandalf says he drove him away, but it's almost implied that the minute Sauron saw him, he went, okay, I'm booking it. And Sauron was not exactly interested in a fight at that time because he's a shadow of his former self. And Gandalf had with him the rest of the White Council. He had the rest of the White Council with him. And this would have been a big enough threat that Sauron would have said, I'm not going to stick around for this fight. So, in that regard, I don't... Like, this is a huge maybe, Celebrimbor, yeah. Gil-galad, yes, certainly. Elendil, yep. Finrod, yeah, I can't argue. Eltariel, okay. Yeah, like, most of this I'm like, yeah, but I'm just, the Gandalf thing, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say for sure. And, let's see. Real name? Arthas Menethil? Oh, not really. The Lich King is not really Arthas. He's a being who has possessed Arthas, because the original being who formed the Lich King armor and crown and created Frostmourne was an orc. So it's really more, I forget that orc's name, but like it's really an orc there. But he himself isn't even an orc anymore. He's an undead kind of soul ghost possessing. He's a ghoul essentially possessing armor.
He's a lich.
Essentially, a demi-lich, actually. He's a demi-lich, and when combined with Arthas's body, they become a lich, with the phylactery essentially being the sword Frostmourne. Scourge Lord, King of the Darned. I can't really say this word. I think. King of Lordaeron. Yeah. Age 29 years old. Oh. I didn't know he was 29. Death Knight, former human paladin. Okay. Former lover of Jaina Pradmore. Yeah. Killed his own dad. Interned. Okay. They should have his next feats. Frostmourne reaps and corrupts souls. Can wound souls directly. Yeah. Yeah. Helm of Domination grants dominion over the Scourge. Yeah. Houses the powers of the Lich King. Yeah. Transport to the Shadowlands. Really? Okay. Sauronite armor. Self repairs. Oh, cool. Resistant to magic? Yeah. Reflects holy and light magic. Yeah, I remember that.
That won't have much effect on
Sauron, yeah.
Because if we
well, Sauron technically does have some divine abilities because he is a Maiar. But he's essentially fallen. He's essentially a fallen angel. So, sort of. Reveals Eye of Icarus. Reveals secrets. Summon ghouls. Flight and levitation. Yeah. Ice magic and manipulation. Yep. Immortality. Yep. Mind and soul manipulation. Necromancy. Yeah, they seem to have most of the stuff for the Warcraft universe, right? I think it's because they're more familiar with that, and they're not really book readers. Beat Illidan's Stormrage. Like, that's a big accomplishment. Sorry to all the Warcraft fans, but Illidan... Well, okay, actually, Illidan's a good fighter, but against Arthas, and later, Lich King, he doesn't measure up. We defeated Gul'dan. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Gul'dan was pretty powerful, so I have to eat my words. Illidan is powerful enough to kill Gul'dan, but in comparison to Arthas, Arthas was barely even trying in that fight.
I can't help but think of, in the X-Men cartoon, you have Juggernaut who slapped aside
Wolverine.
You have Gladiator came in, slapped aside Juggernaut, and then you had Phoenix come in and slapped aside Gladiator.
That's basically what happened in Warcraft. Conquered a country quickly and effortlessly. Yeah. Considered the most powerful Lich King. Yeah. Destroyed a prison that injured planet shaking attacks. I'm not familiar with that, but okay, sure. Can canonically wipe out an entire 25-man raid. That's important. That's gameplay stuff. Defeated Uther the Lightbringer. Yeah. Dronish Sourfang. Sylvanas Woodrunner. Yeah. Sylvanas was just a regular elf ranger. She was just some random trooper. So, yeah. If I'm a little dismissive, that's fine. All right. Now we're actually going to play this. I'm going to just measure my volume carefully because I don't want to blow out our dear listeners' eardrums. Let me just go like this, and let's play the whole thing. Actually, you know what? We will blow out your eardrums, and in post, I'll just adjust the volume if need be.
That looks nice.
Yeah, the animation's always great for these guys. They're good at that.
2D or 3D?
They're great at it.
I shall claim what is mine.
Which character is that?
In this cold north, you will find only
The lit nerd in me is just horrified. The video game design nerd in me is loving it. Where are the movies? Trying to turn into his wolf form. I wonder if he's going to turn into. Well, okay. We're going to pause here. Now that I think about it, he can't actually. His shape-shifting abilities took a hit. He can't really alter his body now after Numenor. He's stuck in one particular Dark Lord demonic form. Now, here they're using the visuals of the movie for that form, but which is fine. Like, but he can't really change into his wolf form now that I think about it, or his vampire form, because those were abilities of his previous body, his first body. He's on body number 2 here. They're using body number 2, which admittedly was kind of like, well, body number 1 would have probably been his strongest with the One Ring. Body number 2, well, might be equivalent power just because One Ring has all the power. Body number 3 is the weakest because obviously it fled from Gandalf, as said before, for a good reason, because, you know, like, I don't think he could have taken Gandalf, Saruman, Elrond, Galadriel. I don't think he could have taken them. So, yeah, he can't turn into a wolf anymore. That part is weird that they brought it in.
You will find nothing.
Oh, they're hugging! Oh, it looked like they were hugging for a minute. Some Dark Lords they are. Here, beer, go!
Your efforts are for naught.
Just some random volcano erupts. Oh, he started bleeding.
You serve me now. I serve no one.
Not accurate. He serves Morgoth. He serves Morgoth. And yeah, he kind of claims the mantle of Dark Lord and says, I'm in charge, to an extent. But you got to bear in mind, in the sinking of Numenor, he does offer sacrifices to Morgoth. So it's implied there's still some loyalty there and fear, because he knows Morgoth's off in the, well, great gap outside, the void. And he knows that Dagoroth will one day come, so he's going, I don't want to anger Morgoth. So he does know to fear his lord and master. On the other hand, here he's abandoning his body, it seems. That means he loses the fight. Because the reason I say he's losing the fight right there is because you got to bear in mind, it's going to take him how long to regenerate a body if he still has One Ring. Now, on the other hand, if the Lich King takes the ring and puts it on, he's going to master that ring, and Sauron's little more than a shadow, a shade, unable to affect anything, unable to be heard. All he can do is observe. And Sauron, yeah, like, so this here, him losing the body, I think they're going with Lich King winning. They have to show that ugly eye.
Witness the prophecy of your doom.
What is called?
You speak nothing but lies.
Ice eyeball versus fire eyeball? This is cotton. Okay, Sauron can't actually banish anyone to the void. I'm sorry, but he can't. He... Okay, the thing is, he can... If he uses a Morgul blade and turns you into a ghoul or a shadow or something, he can enslave you that way because, he can enslave the undead as well. Just like Arthas can here, or I should say, the Lich King. But to banish someone to the void is beyond Sauron's abilities. He can't actually do that. And the reason I say that is because I am familiar with the lore. Like, he can't. And that's something that the Valar kind of reserve for themselves. And even if he could, I don't think he would touch the void because the Valar might just go, get over here, bucko. Chuck him in, and he's going, shoot. At which point you've got Morgoth asking him, what you in for? Dark Lord stuff. Don't drop the soap. Shoot. So, like, here, him opening up a doorway to the void, this is so weird. What's with the giant fire eyeball versus ice eyeball? What was that? That was so peculiar. Okay. That was weird. I want to hear their explanation. I know I skipped their previous explanations, but I'm confused.
KO!
What just
Well,
happened?
if he wasn't all-powerful before, look out for supercharged Sauron now.
How is he super duped? Like,
I think he means that he absorbed the Lich King's power.
But he didn't don the Helm of Domination or take Frostmourne.
Despite the Lich King's impressive power, Sauron's might was absolute.
But not before he got the duel of his life in a crazy close bout. First up, both Dark Lords could counter pretty much any mind or soul-screwing powers, making a lot of their usual tricks way less noteworthy in this match.
To be fair, the Lich King severely debilitated Sauron via his plague of undeath. Most physical bodies would not survive such a disease.
So Sauron just got rid.
Yeah, because Sauron's body is tied to his one ring. And you can't beat Sauron to death. Like, that's basically what Gil-galad and Elendil did. They beat him, even as they were killed themselves. And then after he had fallen in defeat, Isildur cut off the one ring as Vergild. But, or at least that's what he explained it as. It doesn't make any sense, because Isildur was kind of being corrupted by the ring already. But, yeah, well, you can't really do undeath stuff to Sauron because his body is a living body. And if it means turning the body into an undead one, I don't think you can do that because of the one ring. It will, I think, offer him protection. So.
Rid of his body. Who needs it? His
Wait, ditch the body? So that means Sauron did lose. No, if he loses his body, he's
That's
vulnerable. That's it. Like, you gotta bear in mind, that body, if it dies, well, Sauron basically does die, and his soul is basically just looming over there in the background going, hey, that's mine. And at which point you'll probably have the Lich King who just goes, oh, nice ring. Precious. And puts it on and goes, wow, I feel great. At which point he gets all the abilities of Sauron. And because of the nature of the Lich King as an individual, like he's going to conquer and dominate the One Ring. At which point Sauron's shade is banished essentially to the void itself. So here... Oh, well, who needs it? Sauron does. To abandon the body is to commit surrender. And Sauron does not surrender. He does not understand the concept. That's part of his psychology. Honestly, somehow this always kind of happens even when the side I kind of want to win wins with these guys. I always end up feeling dissatisfied. And our oldest brother really loves this channel and always shows it to me. And I always feel dissatisfied and annoyed with this channel.
I watch it regularly, and sometimes there are battles I think really shouldn't happen, whether for ones that I support or ones that I'm against. Sometimes it's so lopsided, and sometimes they use really bad logic.
Yeah. Well, the main thing here that I'm trying to like wrap my head around is why would Sauron surrender?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically what submission of his body would be. He needs that body. Otherwise, he cannot fight in the physical realm. And you got to bear in mind, his spirit is anchored to that body and to the One Ring. If he loses the body, he has no control over the One Ring right now because it's a physical object of Arda. And at which point, if it gets picked up by someone else, then, the rule of dibs kind of applies. Unless, of course, they have a weak will, which I'm actually going to say I don't think the Lich King would count as having a weak will.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, he will dominate them and get them to give it back to him once he has regenerated his body. But the regeneration of his body will take, without the One Ring, probably about 2,000 to 3,000 years. It did in Lord of the Rings.
Even Arthas has a strong will.
Yeah.
And he was conquered.
But here's the thing. I don't know if I think the Lich King would win this fight. Like, Sauron winning, okay, but the way they did it, it just seems dumb to me.
Let's keep listening to their logic.
Especially when you can rebuild one or just start fighting as a ghost.
But Sauron doesn't fight as a ghost. By the time of The Hobbit, he already had his physical body. Hence why he was able to influence the mortal realm. But the thing is, he chose to flee from the White Council because he doesn't really want to lose. On the other hand, when has he ever fought as a ghost? Are they referring to before the dawn of time with the music of the Ainur? With the Discord of Melkor? Because, yeah, he participated in that, but... that was a different kind of bout. But the moment he descended into Arda, he ended up pretty much taking a physical form in order to influence the physical realm of Arda.
And the more the Maiar who are on Earth spend time with mortal vices,
And
so
whatnot.
to speak,
Yeah.
like food consumption, Gandalf and his smoking.
The more they're losing their Maiar connection, their connection to the spiritual realm, and the more they're anchored and trapped in the mortal realm. Now, the One Ring was Sauron's way of trying to kind of avoid that while also being part of the mortal realm.
Things Sauron could do.
After all, the plague is intended for organic mortal enemies and has never infected
Organic mortal enemies. He's immortal. He is organic.
a spirit.
Another smaller point for Sauron was his weakness.
Just out of curiosity, what would happen if Sauron were to get his hands on the Lich King's items, like the sword?
I don't think Frostmourne would take over him. The frightening thing is they probably get along, and because they ultimately pretty much want the same thing, so he'd probably form an alliance with the Lich King. Like, once he is the Lich King, almost. You know what I mean? They'd basically fuse to a limited extent, or at least as others understand, but they wouldn't it's more like an alliance. Sauron's kind of supplying the body and the One Ring and his Maiar spirit, but in turn, the Lich King wants to just reap undead and destroy all the living realm so that he could rebuild the world in his image. That's kind of what Sauron wants. Although Sauron does not want to destroy all life, he wants to dominate all life. But weirdly, I could see the two of them kind of meeting halfway to an extent with each other. And in that regard, I don't think Sauron would change once he has the items. I think that he'd just kind of make a deal. And I see the Lich King doing the same thing. And weirdly, I don't see either of these individuals wanting to ever engage in a direct battle with each other. Like this. Sauron would want to manipulate the downfall of the Lich King through manipulation and cunning, because to just fight it out with him, Sauron is not a brute. He's more intellectual.
Yeah, and I guess the animation is just for visual effect.
Yeah, that said, the visuals looked great, but I'm basically left scratching my head with, like, the giant eyeballs. What was that? What were they doing there? Like, what does that even mean? Is there supposed to be literary meaning to that? Like, I'm confused.
Is that something movie only?
No, like in the movie, like once he loses his body, he turns into a giant eyeball. He doesn't give others an eyeball. Like this entire animation skit of theirs was confusing. I have no idea what they were trying to do there. And like,
I agree, Sauron would be the one to come out on top, but they've got so much facts wrong.
and they've got so many details that are just, I'm just left confused and shaking my head and going, who, what, where, when, why, and how? Like, we might as well throw every question in there in the ring because, well, they don't seem to answer any of them.
There's a reason why a lot of the time I just skip the explanations, just go to the battle itself.
Yeah, I get that. That's basically what we did, and I don't think, like, their explanations are usually just nonsense, I find. Except when they list all the stats and whatnot, then I check that screen out just to get a general idea. I'm just left more confused here than I am going in.
It'd be...
I was more curious. Now I'm confused.
It's like, you know what? If they want to do a death battle, Genie versus the Mask.
Sure, why not? From the comic or from the TV movie series? I know there's a cartoon and there's a movie.
The movie?
Sure, why not? Anyways, tell us what you think of this video and of this death battle. And, like, maybe you can make sense of this, but because we can't. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, as Jet said, as though you were Eru Iluvatar raining down his wrath upon Numenor and Sauron.